Now, the greatest radio shows of all time.
Suspense.
The Shadow Node.
Washington calling David Harding, counter-spy.
Classic radio theater.
The Great Gildersleeve.
Fibber McGee and Molly.
Dragnet. Gunsmoke.
The Lone Ranger.
Now, step back into our time machine with your host, Wyatt Cox.
Good evening, friends of the Inner Sanctum.
We'll hear a lot of Howard McNear in this program. Of course, you know, he's best known to youngsters, and by that I mean to people in their 40s and 50s, as Floyd the Barber on the Andy Griffith Show. Well, you're going to hear him first as the Doc in Gunsmoke, and you'll also hear him as Indestructible Mike. That'll be coming up in our next half hour. Right now, let's get to Gunsmoke. William Conrad starring from June 4th, 1955.
Gunsmoke. Around Dodge City and in the territory on West, there's just one way to handle the killers and the spoilers, and that's with a U.S. Marshal and the smell of gun smoke. Gunsmoke, starring William Conrad. A transcribed story of the violence that moved west with young America. And the story of a man who moved with it.
I'm that man, Matt Dillon, United States Marshal. The first man they look for and the last they want to meet. It's a chancy job, and it makes a man watchful and a little lonely.
Hello, Chester.
Well, Miss Kitty.
What are you doing in here this time of day?
I found me $1, Miss Kitty, and I thought I'd run it up at Faro this afternoon so's I'd have some real money to gamble with tonight.
Oh, now that's what I call thinking ahead.
Well, man, gotta take a chance once in a while, else he won't never amount to nothing.
Well, you got your mind made up. I won't argue with you.
Would you come stand by me? Maybe give me a little luck?
Sure. I got a feeling it won't take long.
Oh, Jack Davis is the only man playing there. We'll have plenty of room.
It isn't room you need, Chester.
Hey. Who's that dealer? I never seen him before.
New man, Lonnie Pike.
I don't like his looks.
You never mind him. You watch the cards.
Get your hand off them chips, Pike.
You lost, didn't you?
I had them on the 7. You moved them.
I did not.
More trouble.
I told you to get your hand off them. I'm warning you, Pike.
Here, now, you fellas can settle this without no fight.
You stay out of it, mister. I'm taking these chips, Davis.
Oh, no, you ain't.
And you better come up with a gun in your other hand. Now draw, Davis.
You ain't gonna shoot me.
Get that knife out of my hand. Get it out.
Quit fumbling for your gun.
I quit. Look.
Pull that knife out of there, Davis. Go on, pull it.
There, that'll learn them.
Hand. You've torn up my hand.
If you go for your gun again, I'll tear up more than your hand, Pike. I mean it, I'll open up your throat.
Hold it, Davis.
What are you busting in for, Marshal?
Shoot him, Marshal.
Shut up.
Shoot him.
You lay that knife on the table, Davis. Go on, do it.
I ain't gonna fight you.
All right, pick it up, Chester.
Yes, sir. Why didn't you shoot him, Marshal? You seen what he done to me.
Now, I'll take your gun, Pike. Where is it?
In my pocket there. I wasn't going to use it. I was only scaring him.
It's a lie.
That's right, Mr. Dillon. Pike went for his gun before Davis pulled that knife.
That's no cause to pin my hand to the table. It's all tore up. It's ruined. And you let him get by with it, Marshal. You won't even shoot him. You'll pay for this, by heaven. I'll get even with you.
You can bleed to death while you're standing here talking, Pike. You better go see Doc before you do anything.
I'll go. But you'll see, Marshal. You and Davis both. You'll see.
Threats against Marshal Dillon, and we're not 5 minutes into the show. June 4th, 1955, Gunsmoke on Classic Radio Theater with Wyatt Cox.
You ever make a change and then think, why didn't I do this years ago? Well, that's how people feel about switching to MediShare for their health care, especially now with inflation the way it is. People are very happy with the savings. Most families save about $500 a month when they switch. It's a huge help when prices are going up so fast in so many other areas. And MediShare's customer satisfaction rate is double that of health insurance. It's just a different experience, and people really like that. MediShare is an alternative to health insurance. It's a community of Christians who share each other's healthcare bills, and it's been going strong for over 25 years. It really is the gold standard, the most trusted name in healthcare sharing. Find out why people love it, find out why they rave about the customer service, and find out how good it feels to save some money right now. They're super easy to talk to. Here's the number, 833-34-BIBLE. That's 833-34-BIBLE, 833-34-BIBLE.
Let's get back to Gunsmoke, June 4th, 1955 on Classic Radio Theater with Wyatt Cox.
After Pike left, I got the whole story from Chester and Kitty. And although Davis had acted in self-defense, I didn't care much for knife men. So I ran him out of town on general principles. I'd have run Pike out, too. But the next day, he left on his own accord. And that's the last I heard of him for some time. A month went by, and I forgot about the whole thing. Until the day Chester brought word that an old friend of mine, a gambler called Cam Durbin, had come to town. And he wanted to see me at the Dodge House.
Durbin seemed like a real nice fellow, Mr. Dillon. His wife's nice, too.
His wife?
Wasn't he married when you knew him?
Well, I haven't seen Cam in a long while, Chester. I think he's been over in Wichita all this time.
Yes, he has. That's what it said. They come on the Santa Fe this noon. There they are, sitting in the lobby.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, she's a pretty girl, isn't she?
Yes, she sure is. Awful pretty.
Oh, here he is, Dillon. Here's Matt Dillon.
Hello, Cam. It's good to see you.
Marshal Dillon, huh?
Yeah, it's not much of a job, but at least I eat regular.
Here, I want you to meet my wife, Tilda.
I'm glad to know you, man.
It's Tilda, Marshal. How do you do?
Well, you surprised to see me married, Matt?
Well, a man can get married, I guess.
Sure he can. If you left that gun off, maybe some woman would have you.
Yeah, you used to be pretty handy with a gun yourself, Cam.
I had to be.
Yeah.
But that's over, Matt. I've gambled honest ever since my wedding day. It's a promise I made to Tilda.
It was his only fault, Marshal. Outside of being the most jealous man I ever met.
Oh, now, Tilda.
It's true, and you know it.
Tell me, Cam, what are you doing in Dodge?
Oh, I'm going to run a Faro table at the Long Branch, Matt. I made a deal by mail with the owner there.
Oh, Sam Noonan?
Yeah. I give him a percentage, but it's my game, and I run it. I don't aim to get rich no more, Matt. Just make an honest living.
Mr. Dillon.
Yeah, what, Chester?
Look who's here.
Oh.
He's seen you.
Yeah.
Marshal, I want to talk to you.
Why don't you come by the office later, Pike? I'm busy right now.
You're busy, huh? Well, I ain't. Nobody'll hire me. I've been all over. Look at that hand. Can't deal with that hand. They say I'm too slow. I'm starving to death, Marshal.
Oh, why don't you look for some other kind of work?
I want no other work. Gambling's all I know.
You're a troublemaker, Pike. I don't know why I want you in Dodge anyway.
Troublemaker, huh? Well, I'll make you more trouble you ever thought of if you don't help me.
Get out of here, Pike.
Wait a minute. I don't know what this is all about, but I'll give him a job.
No, Cam.
Well, I can understand why a gambler don't want to give up his trade.
You a dealer, mister?
I own a Faro game at the Long Branch. You can deal in my off hours.
You mean it?
I won't stand for cheating. First time, out you go.
Well, I wouldn't cheat nobody, I promise.
Come in tonight. I'll talk to you then.
Sure. Thank you, mister. Be there tonight. It's a good thing for Marshal Dillon there's one decent man in this town.
That was a mistake, Cam.
You don't want him sneaking around waiting to shoot you in the back, do you?
I'd have handled that.
Sure, but it's easier this way. I don't care if he is a slow dealer. He can at least keep the game running.
Pike's no good, Cam. He'll cause you trouble, sure.
Why should he try to hurt me?
Because you're a friend of mine?
You're too suspicious of people.
Maybe.
Well, what could he do to me anyway? I'm clean. I only got one weakness, man.
Oh?
Tilda here.
Cam.
She's sure right about my being jealous.
Well, don't get too close to Lonnie Pike. It isn't only me he doesn't like, Cam. It's everybody. After a week or two passed and nothing happened, I began to think maybe Cam was right about my being too suspicious. For a while, he joked me a lot about it. And then I began to notice a change come over him. Wasn't anything I could put my finger on. But sometimes I'd find him looking at me, and when I'd look back, he'd turn away or start studying his hands. It was like he had something on his mind that he was ashamed of. I wanted to ask him about it, but I figured he'd tell me when he got ready. And he almost did one night at Delmonico's. Doc and I had finished supper and were sitting there talking when Tilda walked up.
Evening, Marshal. Doc.
Well, hello, Tilda.
Won't you have a chair, Tilda?
Oh, thanks, Marshal.
Oh, where's Cam?
I'm waiting for him. He told me to meet him at 6 o'clock.
Oh?
Well, you can have our table. We're all through.
Oh, I thought maybe you hadn't started yet.
Well, Doc likes to eat early. I guess he's afraid there won't be anything left if he isn't the first in line.
Oh, anything. Oh, now that's a lie, of course, Tilda. I eat early because I get hungry early.
It sounds like a simple enough reason.
Yeah, and also because I like to go to bed early when I can, like tonight. So if you'll excuse me.
I'll stay with Tilda till Cam shows up, Doc.
Fine, fine. Goodbye, Tilda.
Bye, Doc.
Hello, Pike. Hello.
That's funny.
Oh, what?
Lonnie Pike just stood there, took a look at us, and then left.
Oh, Pike doesn't exactly approve of me.
I don't like him, Marshal. I wish Cam had never hired him.
Well, he hasn't caused any trouble so far.
I wouldn't trust him any further than I would a Yankee.
Well, I guess you couldn't put it much stronger than that, could you?
Oh, I'm sorry. Well, I just naturally thought you were from the South, Marshal.
Well, you can't offend me, Tilda. I've lived almost everywhere.
So has Cam, I swear. I get the idea sometimes he couldn't have spent more than a night in any one spot. He's been so many places.
Cam was quite a wanderer before he met you.
Oh, he worries me sometimes, Marshal.
Oh? Why is that?
Oh, I can't tell you now.
What? Oh, hello, Cam.
What are you doing here, Tilda?
What?
I said, what are you doing here?
I'm waiting for you.
That's so.
Of course it's so. What are you talking about?
You're supposed to be waiting for me at the Alacran.
Oh, my goodness. I guess I wasn't listening. I just naturally thought you said Delmonico's.
Uh-huh.
Oh, Cam, now that you've found her, why don't you sit down?
I'll be at the Alacran, Tilda, when you're finished.
Cam? Don't worry, Marshal. I'll explain it to him.
Tilda followed Cam out the door, and I sat there watching him, and feeling pretty helpless about the whole thing. I'd seen jealousy before, and I knew what it could do to a man. But somehow I'd never been mixed up in it personally. And I didn't like it now that I was. But I figured the only thing to do was forget it. And I did. Until the next day. was along about dusk, and I was riding back to Dodge from a trip I had to make out to the Chatsworth place. At the edge of town, I caught up with two other riders, Kitty and Tilda. So I rode along with them.
I'll bet we've been 20 miles this afternoon, Matt.
Well, it's good for you to get out once in a while, Kitty.
It's good for me, too. If I had my way, I'd never go near a town.
Why don't you make Cam buy you a ranch? All that money he's winning every night.
Oh, what would Cam do on a ranch? All he knows is cards and guns.
Guns? I didn't think Cam ever wore a gun.
Well, he doesn't anymore, Kitty. I made him stop. But he's awful good with one just the same.
Yeah, he is. I've seen him.
Oh, say, I forgot. I told Ma Riley I'd stop by and say hello today. That's her house there. Why don't you go on ahead with Matt, Tilda?
Well, I think I will, Kitty. I'm kind of tired.
I'll see you later.
Sure, Kitty.
Goodbye.
Bye.
Bye, Kitty.
She's a wonderful girl, Marshal.
Yeah.
Well, that's not the most enthusiastic response I ever heard.
I'm sorry, Tilda. I just thinking about yesterday at Delmonico's.
Oh. Cam was upset about something, Marshal. It had nothing to do with you and me.
Is that so?
No. That isn't so. You know it.
Shames you when he acts like that, doesn't it?
Yes, but he doesn't always act like that.
No, of course not. Oh, look. There he is, waiting for you.
And Pike.
Yeah. Oh, Pike's leaving.
Good. Hello, Cam.
How are you, Cam?
We sure had a long ride. Nearly 20 miles, Kitty said.
Kitty said.
Oh, well, she stopped off to see somebody up the street there.
She did, huh?
Cam, you don't think I've been out riding with the marshal, do you?
Why shouldn't I?
Well, we ran into him on the edge of town, that's all. Oh, Cam.
I'll take your horse over to the stable for you, Tilda.
No, you won't. I'll take it.
All right, Cam.
Why don't you ask Kitty if you don't believe us?
She'd lie. She'd have to for her own pride.
Look, Cam. I want to ask you something.
Go ahead.
Who's been working on you? Who's been putting all this in your head?
I got my own eyes.
You sure you aren't using Lonnie Pike's?
Pike. Of course. That's who's been doing it. It's true, isn't it, Cam?
Pike has nothing to do with this.
Now you're lying. You won't admit it, will you? You're too ashamed to admit it.
I don't need anybody to tell me what's plain as day. Matt?
Yeah.
Next time we meet, I'm going to be wearing a gun.
No. No. I won't stand for this.
I didn't start it, Tilda.
No, Pike started it. I'm going to my room.
She's right, Cam. I warned you about him.
Out with my wife. I'm going to come looking for you, Matt. I'm going to kill you.
Ah, you're a fool, Cam.
I'll feel less like a fool when you're dead. Where'll you be, Matt?
I'm easy to find.
What are you going to do, Mr. Dillon?
I'm going under the Long Branch, and I'm going to get Pike, and I'm going to make him face it out with Cam. And if he won't talk, I'll twist him till he does.
That's the only way to do it, I guess. Hey, wasn't that Cam's wife just went in there?
Huh? Oh, I wasn't looking, Chester.
Well, I was, and I know it was her. Now, what would she be doing in the Long Branch?
I don't know. Come on.
Look, she's gone and shot Lonnie Pike.
Give me the gun, Tilda.
Take it, Marshal.
Why did you do this?
I had to.
He ain't dead, Mr. Dillon.
Well, get some help and carry him over to Doc's, Chester.
Yes, sir. Hey, a couple of you men give me a hand here, will you?
I've got to arrest you, Tilda.
Of course. I shot him, didn't I?
Let's go.
It's Cam. He's wearing a gun.
Don't you say a word to him. Let me do the talking.
What happened?
There's nothing to worry about, Cam.
He's taking you to jail.
I said there's nothing to worry about.
Marshal! Why'd you do that? Why'd you hit him?
I need a couple of more men over here. Well, at least you'll have some company now, Tilda.
Well, now we know why this episode of Gunsmoke from June 4th, 1955 is entitled Jealousy. We'll hear the conclusion up next on Classic Radio Theater, along with the start of another yours truly Johnny Dollar story. But first, we have to pause for some important words from your favorite station.
No offense, but are you a little fat when you look in the mirror? How would you like to learn the secrets to lose 3 to 5 pounds a week easily without joining the gym or going through any crazy diets? It's called Body Sculpt by Med Diet. For the last 2 decades, we've been helping people just like you that have pounds they want to shed. We've helped millions of people lose thousands and thousands of pounds over the years. And now it's your turn. Learn the secrets of how to lose weight with one simple phone call. You'll see an amazing difference in a matter of days. Don't believe us? We'll offer you a money-back guarantee. If you're ready to start losing weight right now, call right now to learn more about your risk-free order to Body Sculpt.
Call for your risk-free offer. 800-738-5332. 800-738-5332. 800-738-5332. That's 800-738-5332.
Are you in bad pain? You know what I mean. Your knees hurt. Your shoulder hurts. Your elbow and back are constantly killing you. And I'm sure you've tried every pain pill or cream available at the drugstore. Am I right? Well, here's something you haven't tried. Pain Magic. Pain Magic is not available at any drugstore. The only place you can get it is by calling the special toll-free number I'm about to give you.
And to make things even better, call right now and find out about our buy one, get one free offer. We're so confident it'll work for you that we offer a free bottle with your purchase. No prescription required.
Call now to learn how you can get Pain Magic and get rid of your pain. Remember, your results may vary.
800-492-8164. 800-492-8164. 800-492-8164. That's 800-492-8164.
Now on Classic Radio Theater with Wyatt Cox, the conclusion of Gunsmoke, Jealousy, as it was broadcast June 4th, 1955.
How's Pike doing, Mr. Dillon?
Doc will let us know when he knows.
And at least he isn't dead.
No, Tilda. Not yet, anyway.
I had to do it, Marshal.
Chester.
Yes, sir.
Go get Cam out of that cell. Bring him in here. Huh?
Yes, sir. Marshal Dillon wants Cam.
They hang me, Marshal.
No, Tilda, they won't hang you. But you might be in prison a long time.
It's a good thing you hit me, Matt.
Yeah.
I'd have killed you otherwise. I'd never have let you take Tilda to jail.
She shot a man, Cam.
I don't care.
If he dies, she'll go to prison.
Why'd you do it, Tilda? Why?
Don't you know?
You shouldn't have done it. You didn't have to.
I figured I had to.
But why?
Because of you, Cam.
I don't know what you mean.
If you really don't know what I mean, then I shot Lonnie Pike for nothing. Isn't that so, Marshal?
I think I understand, Tilda.
It ain't true about you two, is it? Well, is it?
I guess you'll have to answer that for yourself, Cam.
Pike. It was Pike kept saying all those things. He was after me every minute, now I think of it, every chance he got.
Yeah, Pike's quite a talker.
He told me you were sitting there at Delmonico's. And today, when we saw you riding up Front Street, well, that seemed to prove everything else he'd been saying.
That'd be a poor way to court another man's wife, wouldn't it? Right out in the open like that?
Yeah. Yeah, it would. Of course it would. Now, why didn't I think of that?
Jealousy doesn't allow a man to think, Cam.
He wouldn't have been taking you to dinner or riding out with you like that, now would he? It don't make sense. It don't make no sense at all.
Of course it doesn't.
I'm ashamed, Tilda. I'm an awful fool.
Being ashamed won't hurt you. Providing you remember it next time you start thinking that way.
It's all clear to me now. I promise you, Tilda, it'll never happen again.
Shooting Lonnie Pike was the only way I could bring you to your senses.
You picked a mighty rough way.
I'd rather go to prison than live the way we were, Cam.
Matt, do you have to keep her?
I have to keep her even if Pike doesn't die. But maybe the judge will understand.
Guess I ought to tell you I'm sorry, Matt, about thinking what I did.
There's no need, Cam.
Thanks.
Oh, Matt.
Doc, how is he, Doc? Tell me, is he dead?
No, he isn't dead. And it looks like he isn't going to be.
Oh, Cam.
He's a mighty sick man now. You shoot pretty straight, Tilda.
Never mind that, Doc. Just go on back and patch him up.
Well, that's going to take a few weeks, man.
I'll get him off as fast as you can. I think Lonnie Pike's going to be leaving Dodge as soon as he can travel.
Gunsmoke, produced and directed by Norman MacDonald, stars William Conrad as Matt Dillon, U.S. Marshal. Our story was specially written for Gunsmoke by John Meston, with music composed and conducted by Rex Corey. Sound patterns by Tom Hanley and Bill James. Featured in the cast were Vic Perrin, Virginia Gregg, Harry Bartell, and Don Diamond. Harley Bear is Chester, Howard McNear is Doc, and Georgia Ellis is Kitty.
June 4th, 1955, Gunsmoke on Classic Radio Theater with Wyatt Cox. More Howard McNear coming up in an episode of Yours Truly, Johnny Dollar, next.
Radio? Why should I advertise on radio? There's nothing to look at, no pictures.
Listen, you can do things on radio you couldn't possibly do on TV.
That'll be the day.
All right, watch this. Okay, people, and now when I give you the cue, I want the 700-foot mountain of whipped cream to roll into Lake Michigan, which has been drained and filled with hot chocolate. Then the Royal Canadian Air Force will fly overhead towing a 10-ton maraschino cherry, which will be dropped into the whipped cream to the cheering of 25,000 extras. All right, cue the mountain. Cue the Air Force. Cue the maraschino cherry. Okay, 25,000 cheering extras. Now, you want to try that on television?
Well...
You see, radio is a very special medium because it stretches the imagination.
Doesn't television stretch the imagination?
Up to 27 inches, yes.
She was born in a humble shack amidst the lemon groves of Goleta, California.
Mommy, don't cry. You know what they say? When life gives you lemons, make lemonade. I was gonna say life sucks, and then you die. But I like yours better.
And with that, Alexandra Johnson launched her lemonade stand.
Lemonade, nickel a glass.
Every day, even during the frigid California winters, a bone-chilling 72 degrees, you could find her.
You can have it sour, you can have it sweet. Little girl's lemonade will knock you off your feet.
The little girl with the sour brew wanted more, national distribution, franchises, and so she rolled out a well-budgeted advertising campaign.
Me and the rest of the dockworkers only drink little girl lemonade.
She was made president of the International Sour Drink Association and chosen to give the keynote speech at their convention.
You all set with words of wisdom, honey? You know what they say, Mommy. Always advertise so consumers think of your product first. I was gonna say never swallow a lemon seed or a watermelon on your tummy.
This fabricated but interesting story is to remind you that it's called advertising and it works.
Put your message on this national advertising platform by emailing classicradiotheater@gmail.com. classicradiotheater@gmail.com. So if you've listened to Classic Radio Theater with Wyatt Cox for a while, you'll know that we love Howard McNear. You just heard Howard McNear as Doc Adams, a supporting character in Gunsmoke. Well, now you're going to hear him in a semi-starring role in this episode of yours truly, Johnny Dollar, part 1 of the 5-part Indestructible Mike Matter. This episode originally broadcast June 4th, 1956.
From Hollywood, it's time now for...
Johnny Dollar.
Pat McCracken, Johnny, Universal Adjustment Bureau.
Oh, no.
How are you, boy?
Terrible. Goodbye.
Huh? Johnny, what's the matter?
Well, the last one you handed me was that phony spiritualist case, and it's still haunting me. Before that, it was Laird Douglas of Heatherskull.
Oh, you made money on him, didn't you?
Yeah. I nearly lost my mind.
Well, all right, I've got one for you now that'll surely make you lose your mind. Johnny, come on over, huh?
Okay.
Tonight and every weekday night, Bob Bailey in the transcribed adventures of the man with the action-packed expense account, America's fabulous freelance insurance investigator.
Yours truly, Johnny Dollar. Expense account submitted by Special Investigator Johnny Dollar to the Lakeside Life and Casualty Insurance Company. Following is an accounting of expenditures during my investigation of the Indestructible Mike Matter. Expense account item 1, 80 cents, cab fare from my apartment to the office of Pat McCracken at Universal Adjustment Bureau. Every one of the cases Pat had handed me lately had been rough. And if it weren't for the loot involved, which is to say Pat never really cracked down on my expense accounts, well, after all, I didn't have any other cases pending, so...
Hi, Johnny. Hey, you're looking great. Sit down, huh? Cigarette? Or would you like a drink? Well, how are you, boy?
Okay, Pat, let's have it. This one must really be bad.
Why, Johnny, what makes you say a thing like that? You sure you wouldn't like just one little one?
No, thanks.
Right.
Now, come on, let's get to the point. What are you trying to get out of paying off on this time?
You want the truth, Johnny? Nothing. Nothing at all. Just a favor for a friend of mine down in New York.
Yeah, who?
I want you to go down and see Peter Branson.
Branson? Any relation to that worry ward Harry Branson of Philly Mutual?
Well, his brother.
Whoops! Get yourself another boy, Pat.
No, Johnny, he's as different from Harry as day is from night.
Well, he'd better be. That literal-minded stick-in-the-mud Harry nearly drove me crazy on those 2 cases I handled for him.
Pete is different as day is from night, honest. Now, will you see him?
Expense account item 2, 21 even, train fare and all the incidentals I could think of, Hartford to New York. Item 3, 55 cents, taxi from Grand Central to Peter Branson's Lakeside Life and Casualty offices at 500 Fifth Avenue, where my worst fears were justified.
That is correct, Mr. Dollar. I am not only Harry's brother.
Don't tell me. You're his twin.
Why, yes. How could you have guessed it? Oh, but now, wait a minute. Did you say you took a taxi for the 3 blocks over from the station?
Yep. At least that's what goes on the expense account.
Oh, dear, my brother was right. You are expensive, and yet he seems to have the utmost confidence in your abilities.
Yeah, but now
the amazing way in which you settled that
Harry,
case...
Pete.
Yes?
What's the case that's bothering you?
Isn't that interesting?
I don't know yet. Tell me about it.
I mean, you're starting to call me Harry because of my twin.
Oh, yeah. Better tell me about the case.
You know, a great many of our mutual friends... What? Oh, Oh, yes, of course. Michael Jeremiah Flynn, a terribly serious matter. If this sort of thing ever gets out of hand...
Who's Flynn?
John, he is a bum.
Aren't we all?
A regular, typical, movie-type version of a Bowery bum.
So?
And unfortunately, he holds a $50,000 policy.
Well, he must have seen better days to carry that much insurance.
Never. Never, I'm sure of it. No human being could degenerate to such a state in a mere 47 years. And he looks and sounds like 67. Also, by the way, his policy is only 2 months old.
Well, what's happened? Somebody knocked him off?
No, but I am sure somebody is going to.
Well, then why did you insure him?
It was Martha who was really responsible.
Who's she?
Martha Ingersoll, the girl I had working for me here in the office at the time he applied for the policy. I was out sick for a couple of weeks, and I'm afraid that when I came back, I did not pay sufficient attention to the application she'd accepted. At least so far as Flynn's policy is concerned.
You better tell me about it.
Oh, of course, he passed his medical all right, though heaven knows how. And his cash payment of the premium was all right. Yes, cash. But I still should have investigated myself before allowing the policy to be issued.
Look, you still haven't told me what's wrong.
Now, of course, it's too late.
Pete.
Oh, of course. Well, it's simply this. The home address that we have for him has turned out to be the Glad Hand Rescue Mission, just off Fulton Street near the Fulton Market.
Yeah, biggest fish market in the world, isn't it?
Well, yes. A fascinating place. Ships loaded with fish from all the 7 seas, colorful characters speaking a dozen different tongues.
Yeah, well, I'm sorry I interrupted what you were saying about
that's
Michael.
all right. That's all right. I'm quite a connoisseur of seafood, you know. Real epicure, if I do say so. Have you ever tasted Boston Scrod?
Yeah, sure. Now, let's get back to the case. Huh?
Oh, yes, Michael Flynn.
Michael Flynn, that's right.
Well, Mr. Dollar, John... It's simply because of what's happened before that I'm so worried about this one. After all, $50,000 is a sizable policy.
And what has happened before?
The same thing, so you can see.
Harry, Pete, I can't see a thing.
John, it's like the Angus Cormac matter back in 47, like the old Mother McCrary affair that happened.
Trying to tie Peter Branson down to the facts of the case was exactly like trying to tie his brother Harry down, only more so. I had to keep reminding myself that all of Harry's assignments had paid off handsomely for me, and keep hoping the same would be true of his brother. 3 separate times in the next 15 minutes, Pete launched forth on the Epicurean delights of seafood. And 3 times I vainly tried to steer him back to port. Finally, I threatened to walk out on him unless he got down to business.
All right, John, I'll give it to you in black and white. Oh, not literally, of course. I mean, I'll tell you from the beginning.
Attaboy.
Now... 4 times within the past few years, this very same sort of policy has been issued.
To some penniless, worthless bum.
Yes, and everything has indicated fraud.
How do you mean?
In only one case were the police able to prove anything, the case of Maggie Dolly Varden Smith.
Oh, yeah. Seems to me I remember that. Some racketeer, ex-bootlegger.
Correct. Candy Kid Schultz.
Yeah, he insured the old derelict for $20,000, $30,000, had himself named beneficiary.
That is correct, and then he had old Maggie murdered. Of course you remember.
And you think you've got the same sort of a situation here?
Yes, John, I'm afraid so.
And you can't cancel the policy unless there's proof of an attempt at fraud.
Correct. So you can see why I'm so deeply concerned over this. Oh, if only I hadn't left Martha Ingersoll in charge while I was sick.
Who's named as beneficiary in the policy?
Well, she did sell some good policies.
Beneficiary.
Oh, yes, here it is. John Wesley Cosgrave, 621 East 49th Street here in Manhattan.
Mm-hmm. What do you know about him?
Nothing, really. And frankly, I'm afraid to find out. John?
Yeah, I'll look into it. And what's the address of this rescue mission where old Michael hangs out?
It's down near the big Fulton Fish Market. Let me see.
Here, why don't you give me that whole folder so I can get what I want from it?
Of course, John. But I am sorely afraid there isn't much to get.
I'm sorely afraid Peter was right. Why not? I had to start somewhere. Item 4, 280, taxi back to Grand Central to pick up the bags I'd parked there, and the same taxi to a slightly dingy little hotel a couple of blocks off Chambers Street on the Lower East Side. Item 5, $9.83 to a second-hand clothing store where I outfitted myself in hat, coat, pants, shirt, shoes, and socks that I hope would make me eligible for a spot on a bench at the Glad Hand Rescue Mission. When I finally shuffled into the place, which looked more like a cheap flop house than a mission, I felt somewhat like a kid playing tramp at Halloween.
Welcome, brother. Welcome to the mission. I'm Daddy Bill.
Hi.
The entrance to the soup kitchen is over at the side, you know.
Yeah, well, I just want to sit down for a spell, rest my feet.
And have you a bed for the night, brother?
Who knows? I'll make out.
Well, there's always room for one more, you know. Will you be here for our meeting tonight?
Well, I don't know.
You have an excellent singing voice, I can tell. Are you sure you don't want something to eat, my boy?
No, I'm all right.
Well, then, just sit and be comfortable and we can talk.
I kind of hoped maybe I might run into Mike.
Mike?
Flynn.
Oh, yes, of course. Michael lives here. Spends most of his evenings with us, poor fellow. Although I really shouldn't say that.
Huh? Say what?
Poor fellow. After all, he's also one of our biggest contributors, too, when he's sober. Although where his money comes from, I'll never know.
Yeah, well...
Although I'm sure it's money honestly gained. Michael's very religious. He's taken the pledge many times, many.
Has a lot of money now and then, huh?
Yes. He seemed to think he might have a contribution for us when he comes back tonight.
But you don't know where he gets it.
My boy, I never ask these personal things of the brothers. Now tell me all about you. You're from out of town, aren't you? I can tell.
This was something I hadn't anticipated, and I had to rack my brain to come up with a story that would convince Daddy Bill I was a bum. When I could get a word in edgewise, that is. And the kindly, gabby old biddy proceeded to tell me in minute detail the life history of all of the habitués of his mission. All, that is, except the one I was interested in, Mike Flynn. Maybe he was suspicious of me. Afraid I might be trying to get my hands on some of the money old Mike frequently showed up with.
Generous in the extreme, John. That's why I feel I must protect him from some of the people who come in here and might try to take advantage of him.
Sure, Daddy, you're right.
Responsibility for the care and welfare of the brothers weighs heavily upon me sometimes, but it's a burden I'm glad to bear.
Yeah, well...
Feed their stomachs and feed their souls. That is my task.
You say you think...
And as I say, it's a task I'm privileged to assume. After all, whom else have they to lean on?
You think Mike will be back here tonight?
Oh, yes, John, I'm sure he will. Oh, but listen. The quartet in the, we call it in the music room. Can you hear them?
Oh, yeah.
Yes, they're getting ready for the meeting tonight. Aren't they wonderful? Beautiful voices.
Yeah, they ain't bad at that.
You're sure you won't join them?
Oh, no, some other time, huh? Now, when
whatever you say, but if you're going to stay here long, my boy, with that wonderful voice of yours, I can tell. I will insist that you join one of our singing groups.
Yeah, about Mike again.
Oh, dear, did you hear that? Someone hit a sour note. Poor boys, they just can't get along without my help. You'll just have to excuse me, John, while I go back there and lead for them. I'll come back later. We'll talk.
I don't know whether it was the overuse of steam heat in the battered old assembly hall in the mission, or having listened to 2 solid hours of Daddy Bill's talk about his boys. Whatever it was, I was tired. And since I had nothing better to do than wait for Mike Flynn to show up, I stretched out on one of the hard benches and closed my eyes. How long I slept, I haven't the least idea. I'd managed to conjure up a mighty sweet dream, too.
Bill!
What?
Daddy, Bill!
What? What?
Where?
Oh, there. Hold it, fella. Hey, you've had a couple too many.
Yes, I guess. Hello. Bill!
He's out back working with the quartet now. Come on over here and lie down.
Yes, I guess old Michael Jeremiah Flynn, sir.
Mike.
And I guess I have had a couple...
A couple too many was right, but not of what I'd thought. His tattered coat opened as he fell, and there, just below the heart, 2 dark red splotches slowly widened on his ragged shirt. And it looked like Peter Branson was right. The beneficiary of Michael Jeremiah Flynn's life insurance policy was anxious to collect.
Now, here's our star to tell you about tomorrow's intriguing episode of this week's story.
Tomorrow there's proof that life is a very tenacious thing, even in the broken body of a Bowery bum. Join us, won't you? Yours truly, Johnny Dollar.
Yours truly, Johnny Dollar, starring Bob Bailey, is transcribed in Hollywood. It is produced and directed by Jack Johnstone, who also wrote tonight's story. Be sure to join us tomorrow night, same time and station, for the next exciting episode of Yours truly, Johnny Dollar. Roy Rowan speaking.
Introduced just at the very end of the show, Howard McNear, who will be in the Indestructible Mike, part one of the 5-part Yours Truly Johnny Dollar story, The Indestructible Mike Matter, from June 4th, 1956. And, of course, if you'd like to get a collection of Yours Truly Johnny Dollar or any show, contact Ted at radiomemories.com. He provides shows on cassette, CD, or flash drive for your computer. That's radiomemories.com, and I think you'll find the price very reasonable. Also, if you would, please thank this radio station, support their advertisers. It is their kindness and courtesy that allows us to be with you each and every time we roll around on your favorite radio station. And our shows are available through Spotify, Spreaker, Apple Podcasts, Google Podcast, Amazon, a whole bunch of other places. Just search for Classic Radio Theater with Wyatt Cox. That's Classic Radio Theater with Wyatt Cox. And, of course, you can find them through my webpage, which is classicradio.stream. There you can stream our shows on demand, learn more about classic radio collecting. You can contact me there, and you can even buy me a Dr. Pepper. Listen. See, I'm having one right now. classicradio.stream. Thank you so much for listening. Tell all your friends the great radio shows are right here at this spot on the dial. Classic Radio Theater with Wyatt Cox on your favorite radio station.